Hello everyone, my name is Rosencrantz and this is Guildenstern and we are very much still alive.
Just kidding, it's Aaron and Ari here. Welcome back to another episode of a podcast where two theatre people who are fairly unqualified in theatreness talk theatre.
We've been away for a bit, doing things. Hopefully you've
Quite
enjoyed some of the
literally
bonus
away.
episodes. Ari's radio show was really great, I thought, so hopefully you've had a bit of fun. And we're back. I know for you it doesn't seem like we've been gone, but
we
for
have
us
been.
it does. Ari's got a new haircut.
True, which Aaron only just reminded me that you haven't seen yet, even though I think I got it cut like 2 weeks ago at least now, but because one of those weeks was spent in Adelaide and we recorded early the week before that.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was the day after we recorded actually that I got it chopped.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Because I remember wearing it out the whole day being like, I got to enjoy it while it lasts. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God it's gone.
So if you're listening on audio platforms and you're like, oh, if only I could see the super cool haircut, come
and see the super cool haircut. I went to flick my hair and there's none to flick. I got to stop doing that.
all the time.
Well.
But yeah, we've been performing.
Up in Adelaide.
Yes.
Up in Adelaide? Down in Adelaide.
Around.
Up in Adelaide.
I mean, it's a circle. Everywhere
East in Adelaide.
West. It's the opposite
Naughty
of east.
elephant squirt.
Yes.
Water.
So west.
East.
No, Adelaide is to our west.
Oh.
Right? So if this is
I
Australia...
thought, no, that's Sydney.
way here.
I'm thinking of Sydney.
Adelaide's in the...
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Just demonstrated how bad I am at geography live on...
geography. We're not geography experts.
No.
We're unqualified in geography, obviously.
Very unqualified in geography.
Very much unqualified
well, I mean, Aaron,
in
you were just
geography.
talking about. I clearly don't. Sorry.
It's just because I like planes.
Yeah.
I was looking at the flight,
I think I'm just used to thinking about Sydney, and Sydney's the other way.
Yes.
Anyway.
Not by much, but yes. Anyway, so we've been performing in Adelaide. We did a show there, which we were just acting in. It's not a show that we've written or anything, but it was a really good experience. Really
had
nice
a good
to get
season,
back out there.
a lot of good feedback,
Yeah.
a lot of good audiences, which is exciting.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to expect going up. I haven't been to an Adelaide Fringe, neither has Aaron. I had no idea what to expect in terms of getting an audience. I was a bit like, I think our show might be a bit of a niche market, or I don't know if this is really like I had no idea what to expect from the Fringe, and I think we fit in better than I expected, even though our show was a fair bit different to some of the other stuff that we got to see as well. But I think that is what the Fringe is about. There's such a spectrum of there's kids shows, there's adult shows, there's burlesque, there's cabaret, there's straight theatre, there's musical theatre, there's comedy. It's just like
that bubble show that we saw. And at the end, they joked. They said, "Oh, we also have a kid show." They actually do have a kid show.
No way, do they actually?
Actually, I looked them up afterwards.
So we saw a show.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it.
Okay,
We'll
I
get
feel like
there.
you need to contextualize that. Otherwise, it's just a comment.
So let's do a review of the shows that we saw. You saw more than me.
Yeah, I did.
So let's, for the first part, we'll talk about the shows that I saw.
Ones you've seen as well. Yeah.
And then you can go into the ones that you saw and you can tell me about that. So
the
first one we saw was a show called Blunderland, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was this very kind of raunchy burlesque circus show that was really great because it the performers and the skill involved in all of the circus talent was really, really great. And to see them go and do all these cool circus stuff was cool, but to do it within the context of this kind of like perverse clown show was a really interesting and really fun and engaging way to do it.
Yeah. It kind of stretched a lot of the boundaries of what you expect and what you are willing to see on stage. I was actually talking to a middle-aged white man on one of the other days when you guys had gone home, and I was just in a line behind him, and we got into conversation. He's like, "Oh, what else have you seen?" And I said, "Oh, I saw Blunderland," and he was like, "Ooh," and I was like, interesting. And he was just like, "Oh, are you okay? Was it okay? And were you okay with it? Like, it's a lot, lovey." And I was like, "Yeah." And it's just interesting, like, because it totally it does. And he goes, "Yeah, you have to be really, really open-minded to watch something like that." And I was like, "No, yeah, you do."
I mean, yeah, it's
like
true.
You do have to you have to go in with an open mind. That's not to say that it's, I don't know, like it's just really interesting to see. Also, I just think I noticed. I think our wire. This is I think the wire is in the camera.
Is it?
Can you see it? No, that black wire is in the camera. I was right. Here's a little cheeky behind the scenes as we realize that the wire is once again cutting right through the frame.
For the record, when I see that there's wires in the foreground, I just go, whatever. And I think one of the first episodes we've done, there's a wire that's kind of like right in the way, and I just had a note that, can you not, please? My microphone is running away from me.
So this is what happens when we leave for a week. Nothing stays put.
But it's I was like, I just had a little note that said, "There's a wire here. I'm sorry." And that was it.
Well, I was gonna leave it, but then I got distracted in my brain. Just when my brain was
okay.
I couldn't unsee the wire.
I thank you for fixing it. It has now been fixed. Anyway,
we're back from that little interlude.
Back to the show.
I was in the middle of saying something about open-mindedness for the show and how like it was really interesting to see how he believed that he was quite horrified. He's like, oh wow, a young lady's gone to see this show. Are you okay, darling? And I was like, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. He was like, oh, and I was like, your perspective just completely changed of me in like a split second. But it was fantastic. I thought the performances were wonderful. Performances in general. It's always interesting with like circus shows and stuff. And I mean, we saw a fair few circusy cabaret kind of esque shows, where they kind of like, I mean, you're so used to, I think, or a lot of people are so used to A to B stories, and things that very much follow a sequential plot line or have a very, firm characters, strong, character development, plot lines and stuff. So when you have something that is a lot more abstract or maybe vignette based or whatever, in whatever realm you want to just explain it. I'm not sure how they perceive their piece.
I mean, I feel like saying it's a circus show is probably the best way to say it. It's like there was like a ringleader who came on and introduced specific acts. So that's how I would probably explain it. But yeah, you're right.
But it's interesting. Yeah, like I think, and not many people, I mean, I haven't seen heaps and heaps of that kind of, I've been in a lot actually of stuff that's in that kind of way, which I just kind of was thinking about. But like actually watching that kind of performance isn't something I do a lot of, or hadn't done a lot of prior to this. So it was an interesting sort of hurdle to kind of, and I honestly, I think I kind of prefer it. It kind of takes away, it showcases a lot more breadth and depth sometimes than if you're following an A to B plot line where you have a lead and, supporting actors and all of that kind of jazz. Because it, kind of gave everyone their, moments and played with thematic content more than it did with, storylines and complicated stuff. And like with a storyline, you either like the storyline or you don't. Yeah,
true. Whereas with this one,
you can like an act or not like an act, and the second it's over, there's another one.
Like there were a couple acts which I felt weren't as strong as some of the other acts, but it was like, that doesn't take.
Or ones that like maybe personally wouldn't have enjoyed as much. So like some of the things I'm like, oh yeah, not my vibe. Like seeing people in pain. There was like a stapling moment, and I was like, that to me freaks me out. But there were some people like, oh my god, that was the coolest thing ever, and I was like, yeah, see, that just made me feel like, oh, are you okay? Whereas like some of the circus stuff, I found freaking incredible. Like I'm currently doing silks. Obviously we touched that on another episode, but like seeing some of them do silk stuff, I was like, hey, cool, I can now contextualize what I'm doing in the framework of, hey, this could eventually be a performance art that I can do. Or like the juggling, all the things.
The juggling was really great.
Oh yeah, so much of it.
Good review. We liked the show.
We did. We enjoyed the show.
And it was very circusy and less sequential. Segue to the next thing we saw, which was the adults only bubble show.
Oh yeah, so I was just gonna say, what was the next thing we saw?
That was the next thing we saw. That was the night.
Oh, we actually missed a comedy show. Shout out to
of course,
at Marcus Ryan. We can shout
Ryan.
Him out.
Yes, we saw his stand-up show. Very great.
Fan of the guy, fan of his comedy.
Yeah, it probably has it has all of his stuff online. Look up Marcus Ryan comedian. You'll find it. Shout out to
Instagram.
Marcus. His show was great. It was really great, really funny. The narrative of his stand-up show was really great. I really love stand-up comedians who have that kind of full story element, and they just have small stories that add to a full story. And I think he did that really well in his stand-up show. So that was also really great.
I enjoy that he does a lot of it surrounding travel and stuff, and it was a really interesting premise, and especially coming off the back of having 2 years of none of that, and off the back of 2 years of not having performed. It's really hard for people. I mean, I don't know how people do it. In general, I have being one solitary human being with a mic stand and a spotlight and talking at a whole bunch of people for an hour. So in general, hats off to all the stand-up comedians out there. You do something that I would never, ever, 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 ever in a million years even try and do. So I think that was the first show we actually saw.
Yes, that was the first thing we saw.
So shout out to that. Was good. Eased just into Fringe, nice and chill, absolutely. Nice and content. And then we went straight into raunchy burlesque,
which is not dissimilar from the next show we saw.
Yeah, far away.
Adults only bubble show.
You always worry when a title, or you get excited when a title starts with adults only R18+.
Yeah. Most of the shows we saw had that kind of subtitle, because by the time we finished performing our show, it was like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and at that point,
that's
all the
an
late
important
night
thing to
shows were
say.
there.
We weren't just seeking out the R18 pluses. Our show finished at 9:30, so by the time we got there, most things after 10 tended to be.
I would like to say that I was seeking out the R18 pluses because I wanted to get the full Fringe experience.
Look, we were not, but a lot of the stuff on was very much in that kind of
evening.
Yeah.
But yeah, so adult only bubbles, which I feel like that describes the show really well, and I also struggled to say what it was about, but it was a show about bubbles.
I'd also like to say I picked that show.
Yeah.
I would like to take full credit and responsibility for finding that show. I actually saw that way before Fringe even started. I was looking at what shows I wanted to see, and I scrolled past that one, and like I very much all of that kind of R18 plus genre is not something I would normally like pin. Yeah. And I'd actually pinned a lot of straight theatre in my favourites to go see. Didn't see any of it. But this is just because I was like, those two concepts combined, a bubble show and R18 plus adults only, just made me go, I'm intrigued. You hooked me. Yeah, it was fantastic. I'll just bounce off a bit more in terms of like, okay, yes, there was narrative-esque structure between two characters. Which I thought was awesome. But my personal standout moment was combining two mediums. First of all, shadow puppetry, which is probably one of the most challenging mediums to work in on stage live in terms of proximity to the camera, proximity to the screen, and the light source, and making bubbles and making shadows that looked like things with bubbles. Bubbles that could pop like this, and shadows that you can bugger up so fast depending on where they're at.
Bubbles that did pop quite frequently, and they just have to fix it immediately.
So that moment was when I just was like, whoa, this is an art form that I have not even like properly conceptualized. Like, I kind of, I've seen people do cool things with bubbles before, make cool bubble things, and I've seen people do cool shadow puppetry, and then to combine those two things and then have a storyline and be a dancer and be incredibly physically fit.
Oh yeah.
Like incredibly physically fit. Like the two of them, who was it? It was like they have like 1% body fat between them. Like it was a spectacle.
Like, the bubbles they had like kind of vape that they would put into the bubbles to create smoke. They had
fire,
helium that would make it fly. They had fire. It was
like
they had everything that you could do with a bubble. They did.
You haven't seen a bubble show if you haven't seen a bubble go up in flames.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that was possible. No. Like Science Ari was like, you can't do that. Because like detergent, like water, hydrophobic or whatever it is, like Science Ari was saying it's not possible. And then it happened and I was like, how does that work?
Moral of the story. Silence Science Ari.
Yeah, shut up.
She's going to stop you from doing things that are great.
Shut up, it's not true. So that was a really interesting,
that was a great, I really
mind-boggling experience.
It was very kind of and also the physical prowess of those, outside of the fact that they were physically fit, but their energy and their power in movement.
Their physical theatre.
Yeah, awesome.
I feel like that probably doesn't get talked about enough for their show because everyone's so transfixed by the bubbles and the cool things they did with the bubbles. But there was a whole like physical theatre performance. Like it was done with zero dialogue.
Yeah, that's true.
And they conveyed everything with their body. The performance of their movement and their physicality and their faces was very inspirational.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And like it was as if they didn't have flashy lights and bubbles to distract us, and all of the focus was onto them, and they performed as if that was it, as if they were the only things on stage, and that's like so great because as soon as you look at them, you're like, oh wow, yeah, they're really good, and like they were able to build that into the kind of performance of their characters as that kind of story evolved over the show. So that one was also really good. I don't know if I want to talk about the third show we saw, to be honest.
Neither do I.
So
it was average. We saw another one. Didn't recommend.
As my mother always says to me, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And so out of that, I'm just gonna say we saw another show and that's it.
It helped us learn what we like and what we don't like, and what could be good and what could be bad, and how you can push something too far. Or take something in a direction you don't need to take it. Yeah. And that's all.
Wasn't my cup of tea, personally.
Wasn't mine either.
And that's okay.
I think
credit to the performers, and we're not going to name anyone's names or anything like that. But
I'd had a few ciders. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But It was the ciders laughing.
I hadn't, and I didn't. But anyway, that was the last show that I saw before I left. Because I came back.
I can tell you about what I saw.
Exactly. So I came back afterwards because I had stuff on. So it was a shame that was my last show. But I feel like it was a successful Fringe. I saw great comedy show and 2 great circus burlesque shows. Had a great time. But yes, now
I just realized I didn't actually see as much as I thought I did. I saw 2 other shows at the actual Fringe. I went to WOMAD on the Monday. So I saw Paul Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
From Little Things, Big Things Go.
Yep.
And a whole bunch of that stuff. Melbourne
does he know anything else?
Yeah, he does. There was other songs, but I was like, oh my God, I don't know any of them.
Yep.
That's
the only Paul Kelly song
and
I know.
And then the one about making
Little Things Grow. yeah, I know that one.
No, his Christmas song. You know what I'm talking about.
From Little
Gravy.
Oh,
Gravy. Anyway, no. So it was at WOMAD, so I saw Melbourne Sky Orchestra, all of those people. Yeah, and that was my Monday. Crazy thing to jump straight. Learnt my lesson. Don't do an entire session at the Fringe and then try and go to a music festival.
Yes.
Those 2 things don't mix. Tiring. Anyway, so I was very tired for that next few days. But I saw 2 other shows, both of which I would watch again in a heartbeat and would want you to watch.
Oh, really?
The first one was called, I was calling it the Deviant. I'm pretty sure it's the Deviant. Okay. Spelled Devint.
So
Devint. Yeah, well, because I thought like standard deviation or deviant.
Well,
person.
A deviant is a word.
Yeah, but I think it's at the end. I swear they said deviant, and I was like, what? Confusion.
Yeah, interesting.
It's an it was a circus show, entirely female / gender non-binary cast of people. Performing loosely based on like there was very thematic, but it actually won the overall circus award for the Fringe. I'm pretty sure I had a look and I was like, yeah, I would have like or like incredibly strong cast of people. Like it would have been 7 of them or something like that. Again, similar to Blunderland in its like the way it operated in little bit by little bit, but some of the things they did and the way they told a story without telling a story. Like there was acting involved, and there was a whole like it was like a clan kind of. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. It was one of those things where I was watching that and I was like, God, I want to do the circus. I want to be in the circus. Like that's enough to inspire me to want to go somewhere with my silks. Because like I couldn't fault a single one of their performances in terms of like.
So was it primarily just like straight circus, or was there like a kind of a hint of?
Yeah, there was a hint of narrative, like because there was like little moments of like kinship and character based. Like I mean, I couldn't tell you what it was about from like a like this happened and this happened and this happened, but I think it was all. I mean, their blurb kind of talks about it being about like themes of I think urbanized, like it's it was like an urban-y kind of setting like they were all kind of in, it felt like a very urban teen, but I don't think they were going for the teen side of it, but it felt like an urban story about like maybe a bit apocalyptic urban vibes,
cool.
Which I thought was really interesting as a way of framing a piece of circus, and yeah, all the performances were incredible, especially coming from like women. Like it felt very empowering. Like it was like, wow, that's a lot of strong women doing things that like you ordinarily would see men do, you know, like to have like bases, like everyone, I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, I need to do circus now. So yeah, really enjoyed watching that, right up my alley in terms of stuff I would enjoy and would go see again in a heartbeat. And then the day after we saw, I think probably what I think might have been the most expensive show on at the Fringe.
Wow. Well, rich girl.
Well, I mean, so yeah, well, I didn't want to go actually because I was like, nah, why should I pay that amount of money? But I got persuaded and I was like, okay, fine, I'll come. I'll pay. I'll cop the money. It better be good. It was called Matador, Sabor d'Amor. The flavor of love, or the taste of love.
Sorry,
you know, no, that's okay.
In French, I know. That was the joke. I was the joke. I know.
So, it was called Matador, and I was like, and it was, I think they marketed it as a cabaret, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. Oh, mate, Oh, mate. Oh, boy. It was a lot of, first of all, very attractive human beings. I mean, everyone at the Fringe was attractive, but like a lot of very strong performers. It was like, it combined literally every style of dance.
Oh, wow.
Every style of performance. There was silks, there was hoop, there was bar, there was straps, there was some semblance of pole dancing, but it was on a bull wire thing, like bull pole. There was a bed floating in air that someone was spinning around. There was a bit of like semi-drag-ish kind of like numbers. There was like full hip-hop. There was ballet. Like, I don't think I could think of a dance that there wasn't. There was like salsa, like tango-esque things. Yeah, couldn't name a style of dance that they didn't cover or a medium that they didn't use.
Yeah, wow.
I lost him a little bit in terms, they did try and tell a story, like it was like the story of like the matador and his love. They lost me a little bit with, they had like little dialogue, like voiceovers.
Mm-hmm.
They lost me a bit there just because I was like, just tell me, like show me, don't tell me. Because it would be like quotes like, my one true love is now gone, and I was like, okay.
Go back to doing the flips.
Go back to like showing me that, because they showed it beautifully. There was a queer plot line as well. I think there was like two of the men like fell in love, and two of the women then fell in love, and I was like, oh, this is so, like, it was so interesting, because like without them explicitly telling you like you would in like a play or whatever, you had to kind of work out, and you're like, oh, that's what's happening with those two.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
so it kind of let you kind of take your own story away. So I reckon if you asked anyone else, they'd have, they would have taken something differently out of that. They could have been like, oh, no, they were just sisters. And I was like, sure. Or whatever, like it was just really interesting.
Platonic friend.
Yeah. And then just friends.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah. So successful.
Really, really successful. Yeah.
And to come full circle, a bubble, if you will, the Bubbles Only show, at the end of it, they said to everyone, oh, we also do a kids show, which of course was very funny considering everything that we've seen at this R18 Adults Only Bubble show. And so I looked them up afterwards, and they do. They have a show that happens at 10 in the morning. So they perform 10 p.m. and then 10 a.m. I didn't know if it was like the same day, but if that is the same day, respect to those people. They do a kids show.
What did they do in the kids show?
Where it's like Mr. Bubble Fluff's Wonderland, where like the two of them do a kids-based bubble show, which like we could have seen actually.
We should have gone.
But anyway, I didn't realize.
Amazing.
But I think it was a really great time to go to the Fringe, because you and I, neither of us have kind of been on a tour in a very long time, and to go to a place that was so kind of just created and curated and built around performing and seeing other people's shows. And that kind of environment is so great. So it was really good. And all artists out there, try and find a festival in your medium and go to it if you haven't before. And if you do, great, we're preaching to the choir. But it's so valuable to see other performers and to learn from other performers and talk to them as well if you get the chance to, because it's such a wonderful place where everyone gets to learn from each other, and everyone is kind of like so positive and supportive for the whole industry as a whole. So it's great. We had a really good time.
Yeah, it was very inspirational, I'd say. Especially like, and I think it pushed like as a kind of closing thing, it pushed the genres that I'm kind of familiar with. Into a space where I'm like, there is so much more out there that I haven't seen prior, like I haven't been interested in. But I am. So yeah.
So great. We had a fun time this week. Sorry, there wasn't really much about the play. Our play. We'll meet again.
Don't worry about that.
But we haven't had a lot of time. So sorry.
We've seen so many other things.
Next week, we'll be able to update you more about how that's going.
Yeah, but as soon as this finishes,
that's true.
We'll be launching right into a rehearsal that will be able to tell you how rusty we are.
But hopefully you still enjoyed this episode. And if you want to hear some more from us, pop onto YouTube, because we have more things to talk about, because it's been a while since we've recorded, so there's lots of other things. So this is definitely the episode to come over to YouTube if you haven't before. Thanks so
all
much.
The Spotify listeners will that's it for you guys, and we'll meet again. Righto.
Yes.
Hello. I forgot how we ended that for a hot minute.
I was like, I was waiting for you to say until next time, and then you didn't, and I was like,
oh, it's until next time. Yeah. Well, I was starting to say we'll catch you later, and I was like, nope, we're not catching you later.
Not yet. Later on.
Anyway, hello.
Hi. Welcome
if you've already been here, hi. Here's my hairstyle.
Yeah, there you go. The big reveal.
And also my pants, which I'm so sorry, they do not match the top. I know that. They were really comfy. I had them on prior to this, and we're just going to roll with it.
I'm wearing tracksuit pants.
Yeah, but...
I think I've worn these pants in like 5 or 6.
Well, no one's seen these yet. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Highly recommend getting yourself a pair. Don't remember where I got them from. Might have been an op shop. Probably was.
Cool. I was talking about jewelry with my brother because he was looking to get some rings. And he was like, oh, yeah, my friend got some rings from the Salvos. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting jewelry from the op shop.
Yeah.
Is it a totally
really smart way?
It's cheap and also really good.
Yeah.
You're supporting your op shops, your local op shops and stuff like that. And I was like, of course, getting jewelry from those places would be great.
That's a smart thing to do.
So there you go. Here's a little pro tip to all of you out there looking for jewelry or anything. We're big fans of op shops.
We are. This is true. My entire cupboard.
Well,
wardrobe.
I say we. I just don't buy clothes. But
yeah, my entire wardrobe comes from the op shop.
Yeah.
Like these shirts, probably one of the first things I've bought brand new.
These aren't from the op shop? You didn't find.
I didn't find these. I know.
That's
a bit embarrassing.
I'm kind of. I don't know if I want to
wear
them.
You're hurt
anymore.
now. I'm really sorry. I should have told you.
I really don't know. I don't know if I want to wear them. You know, like this. I feel like you should have told me that. That should have been something that we could have done.
I'm gonna have to do a YouTube apology.
The bit is over. We're done. But we've done a lot of things in these. We finally finished Euphoria, or I finished Euphoria before you.
And then I finally finished Euphoria out of guilt so that we could talk about it.
Yeah. So here is finally what is it? 8 episodes in. We're gonna talk about Euphoria for real this time. Full spoilers. Spoiler alert! If you somehow have not seen season 2 of Euphoria or any of Euphoria.
Well, considering I literally finished it 2 nights ago, you know.
Yeah, but you're an abnormal type of viewer. Most people will have watched it the week before it actually even releases. But no. Skip to the time codes. You'll see it down below. Skip to the next one because we're going to be spoiling it. I feel like I've given enough time for people to go like, you know what? I haven't seen this show. Or maybe you've just gone, I don't care. That happens to me sometimes. I go... You
decide you don't care?
I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to listen to it. And then they say a spoiler. I'm like, I wish I didn't know that. Don't be like me. Don't do what I did. Don't be like me. So, yeah, no spoilers.
Okay, they've definitely had enough time. We can start talking now.
Season 2's fine. I really liked the whole... I mean, obviously, I liked the whole play aspect of it. Lexi's show.
Well, Lexi's show cool. Just made me feel incredibly jealous about our lack of budget. I'll be honest. Lexi's show made me feel inadequate.
It felt like someone who has never made
my pretty good high school theater experience feel inadequate, which is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if Sam Levinson has ever seen a high school play.
Apparently not.
And I know his father is a world-famous director. But that doesn't mean that you can then put a high school play on with revolving sets, which changing sets. After every scene.
About 400 lights.
Where do all of the sets go when they're not on stage? You don't have that much backstage space.
Trapdoors.
It just poof out of they disappear.
They rise up. There's wires as well, and they had a ring come down at one point.
Oh yeah.
The Cassie's character came down.
Ring. They have an entire recreation of her bedroom
and
like a realism level.
The supermarket thing.
Yeah,
the roof.
The supermarket roof.
They had a whole roof. And then this is all on top of the revolving set,
which was the whole of the school.
All the lockers. They had a whole bunch of lockers.
They had the gym set up.
Oh yes. Oh, that sequence. When you messaged, because Aaron messaged and said, "Where are you up to? I need to know." And I was like, "I just started I'm halfway through the last episode of the last season. I'm halfway through the last episode of season 2." And he was like, "Oh, good." And I was like, I knew that was what you were going to talk about.
Because I was like, there's a moment that I want to tell you about.
As soon as as soon as it started, I was like, this is good. This is great. I watched it twice, actually. Yeah. I rewound it and watched that whole bit again, just because I thought it was fantastic. And what's his face? Ethan. The guy who plays Ethan.
We don't know.
Well, what's his name? No, I do. I Googled it, actually, because I was curious. I wanted to know what else he was in. Fantastic, though.
Fantastic is his name.
Fantastic name. I just thought it was hilarious. I love that it was him as well that was playing
the mum.
Well, I love that it was him playing the mum, but also him playing
Nate.
The fact that he played Nate as the sweetest person, the sweetest male figure in the show.
Yeah.
Playing Nate made me go, What an interesting choice. And then also playing the mum.
You played every other character, basically.
Yeah. It was just fantastic. And then when Cassie's mum comes up on stage and goes, I just want to say that Ethan was fantastic. And I was like, he was. We all agree.
Yeah. That's good. That was good fun. However, everything else about that, I was like, that's fine. You said you struggled with it.
I just think from content-wise, it just got a lot heavier. And I feel like you really, like... If you haven't watched it and you decided you're just going to steamroll through listening to this, or if you did, like, I don't know, I personally found a lot of the things, like, you have to be in a really good mental state to watch the show. Or you have to be watching with someone else because it tackles a lot.
But I feel like season 2, which we did kind of hint upon in the first episode that we talked about, and I guess we didn't expect just how much to that extent that was going to continue, but it did, that it just kind of takes a much darker approach than season 1 and the specials. But in my opinion, in a way that isn't really that deserved. It just feels as if it's just becoming to a point where everything is so upsetting to watch.
Yeah,
and it doesn't
that's
feel
how
like
I
it's
felt.
like justified in a way. It's just like, oh well, this is what was good about season 1 was how real we got it. What if we take it to the raw? But what happens then is it gets to a point where, and maybe that is the intention of, because why it's shown in the play, that it becomes almost melodrama, where everything that happens in season 2 is taken to such an extreme that it's so over the top that it's performative. And maybe that's the intention, and if that is, that it wasn't clear enough for me to make that full go of, this is what I think is actually the intention here. But yeah, like, it's after the play when they're all like kind of catty fighting and yelling and the whole like other performance bits of it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, like what is the difference now between what's on stage and off stage? They're both as over the top as each other now. But what I liked about the show originally and in season 1 and the specials was how real it felt. I didn't get that same feeling from season 2.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I think, but yeah, in terms of content-wise as well, I felt like it was reusing old things, but pushing them in a direction that maybe wasn't.
Yeah, and changing characterizations in a way that was
I think they
unnecessary.
didn't do as much justice as they could.
I mean,
there's
that one scene
with Kat.
the cat scene, which if that
Kat
is
and Ethan.
Yeah, the Cat and Ethan
At
scene
the diner or wherever
the diner where
yeah.
she breaks up with him and then pretends to have, debilitating brain disorder and just like kind of gaslights him, which is so, just to me, feels so out of character with how she's been created.
Yeah,
and there is, I think
doesn't do justice to her at all.
But they were saying that there was some behind the scenes like fighting between that actress.
And
Barbie
and Sam Levinson.
And if that is the case, and if it was because of that
I haven't done my
scene,
research though. So
either way, if it was because of that scene, I understand. It's a weird characterization choice. And yeah, it just happens with a lot of the characters where, and I felt it a little bit with even with Lexi and Fez, as much as I love them both. It just feels like, neither of these two characters have anything, we'll put them together. But I did like that ending bit when Fez is like coming to see the play, and it's like,
but that
she
hurt.
keeps texting him. I know, that's what's good about it.
So
I think that was a good use of that.
I was bawling my eyes out at that, and the thing with Ash and Fez and the people and whoever that dude was, and that scene hurt me. That hurt me so much. Yeah, that was
very intense.
Like, I just wanted Lexi and Fez to be happy.
Yeah.
So much. Like, not even like in a romantic sense. I just loved their relationship as like two. You just
want him to show up to see the show.
I just wanted him to see it and to be proud of her and to bring her flowers.
Yeah.
And that little note, whatever, and like, it just, that's all I asked, and it didn't deliver. That's okay though.
But the final episode ends with a monologue from Zendaya, who goes, "And I was sober for the rest of the school year," and something about Jaws, and I forgot what she said exactly. But it feels like an ending, like an ending. Not
it was very much. It felt like an ending because it resolves the
problems. And even then, I was thinking about like the character arcs of everyone, and I was like, I don't know where you go. Like I was talking to someone, I can't remember who it was, about what to do next, and like, if they're gonna make another season, Rue's gonna have they're gonna have to put Rue on drugs again, or they're just gonna do something like that. And I was like, yeah, because they've resolved it, so they'd have to force something to make more. So I don't know whether it's been renewed for season 3. I haven't seen that. Yeah. But I just hope that this isn't a case of a show that continues on for the sake of it being successful and not for the sake of it actually needing to.
I don't think it'll go.
And I trust Sam Levinson as a creator,
because there isn't. I don't think there's enough.
Yeah, like I feel like we've got enough, and we've seen enough of these characters, and whether you do like a spin-off show or something new or something, I don't know, but I mean, who am I to say that? I'm not a HBO executive and I'm not a writer on the show, but Yeah, it felt very much like an ending.
Well,
to
because
me.
it tied up a lot of it tied up enough that you as the audience can go, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, I don't really need to know what happens to Ash or
Yeah.
what happens to Lexi next or any of, like, I feel like I know enough that there was closure for all of those characters. And I like the kind of open-endedness that maybe we don't know everything, obviously. But yeah, I don't feel as if I was like,
you don't want it to
hooked.
be like, 20 years on, Lexi is doing this,
Yeah,
and Fez
yeah,
is
yeah,
here,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ash is there, and, Rue's, been sober for, she was sober for 10 years, and then she fell back in
there's
another
a
hole,
relapse
and it was
and
another
it's
12,
like,
you don't need that.
No.
But it was enough of, like...
I think that monologue does the
exposition.
Does the job of just kind of explaining it out. And yeah, so... I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a cliffhanger ending,
No.
and but in the same way that season 1 is a cliffhanger ending, which is why I think it's different now. And obviously, I think this could be. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? Maybe in a few months or a year's time, it's like season 3 of Euphoria coming out soon, and I'll be like, okay, I'm still gonna watch it. As always with everything nowadays, I'll be like, they don't need to make any more of this, and then they'll make more of it. I'm gonna be like, fine, I'll watch it anyway. It happens all the time. It happens with Stranger Things. It happens with everything where I'm like, that's content. I can't not be in the conversation.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I'm watching Killing Eve at the moment.
Oh,
You're not,
season 4? No, I haven't seen. I've only seen a little bit of season 1.
Is there anything you haven't really seen? I think I've gotten bitten by something. You see that?
Yes. What is it?
I don't know. There was a spider on the stairs the other day, so maybe it's that spider.
It's the same spider.
Possibly.
Yeah, because there's only one spider. So
yeah, only one spider in the entire world, so it crawled all the way up my stairs and is hanging out in the beanbag with me.
I keep my spiders around. I know I might be one of the weird people who...
Well, no, I don't kill my spiders.
No, true.
But I don't... I mean, the worst part of spiders is when you see one and it's been living there for a while and then all of a sudden it's gone. And you're like, where the hell are you?
It's gone to greener pastures.
Or it's gone to come and crawl into your mouth. Apparently, like, 12
no,
spiders...
that's a lie. That's not
true.
true.
No, it's not.
No, it's not true.
How do you know that?
Because I looked it up, and it's not true. It's a wives' tale. That you swallow 7 spiders every night or something. It's not true.
No, not every night, like in your lifetime.
No, it's not true. It's not
at
true.
all?
No, spiders are going to crawl into your mouth. They're smarter than that.
Oh my god, thank goodness.
I like
to...
Thank God. If I find a spider in my house that isn't lethal or dangerous, if it is,
but how do you know?
Outside. Because I know my spiders. Because I know this. I know this so that I can do this. And if I find a spider that I know is not dangerous to me, and even then, spiders don't harm you as long as you don't hurt them. Just like most animals. Be kind to your animals and insects in your house. But I'll take it and I'll put it above my desk because I have a little, in the corner of my room where my desk is, and I'll just let it sit there and it can make its web, and I let it because then no other insect is in my room. Fair enough. I look after him. I give him or her or them. I give them things to eat, and they look after me by stopping my room. It's like natural insecticide. So look after your spiders. I give them names. I name them after the Spider-Man actors. I've never had more than 3, so I've never had to come up with more names than that. Because usually one of them will either go or...
That's amazing.
Yes, but anyway. So
cute.
Spiders are good. Like them. Anyway.
How's
Killing Eve?
Killing Eve is... I mean, I'm only 3 episodes in, which is surprising for me because I thought I was going to be on them immediately. Oh, God, I think there's still a few more to come. It's coming out weekly. Right. Don't quote me on any of that because, again, I'm only up to episode 4, I think. Okay. Because it's a bit like you were saying, if they were to revamp it, they'd need to do something for Rue. Like, she'd need to either relapse or change. They've kind of done that for the... spoilers alert, potentially. Potential spoilers if you haven't watched.
Don't be like me.
Because I haven't watched further than season 4, this spoiler could actually not be true. Season 4, episode 4. I feel like they've gone a really interesting direction with the character of Villanelle, who's the main, killer. And like they've tried to make her all good because they don't know what else to do with her because she finished the last season on like she was quite apologetic, was sad about her actions, and so now they've made her Christian.
Oh.
It's a bit odd. Anyway, although she's trying to I don't know. I'll unpack it a little bit better when I've watched the whole thing. But I'm I'm really intrigued about how they decided that this was an interest. They've made they've spun the 2 protagonists around, and one of them who has become a lot harder, and the other one's become a lot weaker. And I mean not necessarily weaker, just interesting.
They just swapped the dynamic.
And it potentially potentially could be a bit forced.
Yeah.
But
are you enjoying it?
Well, I love the performances, so I've always only really watched it for the performances. That's definitely been my primary reason for watching it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to watch a bit more. I haven't really had much time on my hands.
That's fair. I had a few days last week where I just binged a bunch of movies. I caught up on a bunch of things.
Yeah, so I need to do that.
Yeah, there's some. I like, Turning Red, very good. This is my quick review.
Oh, I think Sandra Oh is in Turning Red.
She is.
Yeah.
This
She's
is my
in
quick
Killing Eve.
review of all the movies I saw last week. Power of the Dog, very good. Turning Red, very good. Belfast, really good. West Side Story, also really good. That's it. I saw 4 really good movies.
I saw half of Encanto and half of Belfast on the plane, and the audio quality was terrible, so I couldn't really make a statement.
Yep. I'm no comment on the movies I saw. No, I don't watch anything on the plane. But yes, the new West Side Story is really cool. It looks kind of.
I'm really excited to watch it. I've been putting it off for some unknown reason.
And you should also watch Turning Red. Those are the 2 I would recommend to you. Belfast is Belfast, and Power of the Dog is. Oh, actually, that's also really good. Very good movie. Sam,
lots of things to do.
I tell you, so it's a Western, right? It's a Western film. Sam Elliott, who's a very famous actor, the cowboy type, plays a lot of cowboy characters. I think he's from the South. Called the movie Bad and Gay, which I thought was he's like 60-something years old, which I thought was funny considering that the film is queer. Like that's kind of the point of the movie. Yeah. And he was like, oh, I don't know why they just try. And you're like, did you watch? Did you get it? Did you understand the point of the film that it's trying to make, Sam Elliott? But anyway, no slander. I think he's a great actor. I just think that's a bit of a weird statement to make. But yeah, anything else you've done in the past 3? How was your haircut experience?
Expensive.
Yes.
Why are haircuts so expensive?
I don't know.
All they did was chop it.
I did my own.
Yeah, well, maybe I should start doing that.
Well, I don't know. Look at this.
No, I should have. Well, now I know. I went to a different place because I was like, oh, let's find this fancy place, and not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider coloring it or going shorter? Just out of
both of those things, I would consider. Yeah. No, I want to go shorter. I'm just trying to work up to it. So, I mean, I've been shorter than this. We know that.
Yeah, we know that.
I just don't know. I need to find the right time and place for a short haircut.
Yeah.
Because a short haircut really does pigeonhole. Is that the right word?
Yeah, one of the things I feel like I'm always, I don't think many of us masculine people are conscious of is just how much our appearance is not important at all in regards to what we do in terms of, especially in terms of performance. I mean, I'm not an actor. At least I don't audition as an actor. But like, I highly doubt that most male actors are considering those kind of things. I mean, I'm sure they probably would, but not to the same extent of like, if I cut my hair, am I now not?
Yeah, have you like completely cut off a portion of the market? Like that's what I'm worried about. Cutting my hair is even cutting it to this length. I was like, I'm cutting out a whole like segment of the market.
Yeah.
That I could be eligible for, which is difficult. And I want to go shorter. I'm like, I really want to shave it all off, frankly. But yeah, that does really lose a lot of
Have you ever had like an experience where someone has spoken specifically about like hair length or like have you like what if you go back to something now with this hair, would they be like, oh? I mean, for sure. You don't need to. I'm just like
a lot of things specify like, mid to long length hair or below the shoulder,
and it's primarily a thing for female.
Yeah,
actors,
definitely.
Right? Like, no male. I mean,
that still could be like you must be well groomed or whatever.
True,
but like define well groomed. You can have long hair and be well groomed. Yeah. So I'm definitely aware that I do need to be. I need to think about what my hair. What kind of parts my hair will help me or not help me get.
Yeah.
And now that it is shorter, that does sort of... I mean, it could help with some parts as well. Just because I have short hair doesn't mean I don't have any parts. No, there are still parts, but it changes the type of part or, context. And, it's obviously a lot easier to cut your hair than it is to grow it. In terms of, if I was to get a roll and they were like, can you chop it off? It's like, yeah, sure. But if I was to get a roll and they're like, can you suddenly have hair down to your butt? I'll be like, give me 2.5 years.
Somebody came up to the street and like, hey, do you mind having hair all the way down to your butt? And I was like, I can't do that now. And the guy was like, all right. And he kept walking.
Yeah.
It's a weird kind of, it just happens sometimes. People ask.
Just exchanges like that,
Yeah, it's
very
always,
normal.
It's always that though.
It's always the hair.
It's always hair down to your butt. And I'm always like, why? I just met you on the side of the road. Or like it's in an Uber and the guy's like, have you had hair down to the sides of your butt? And I'm like, no, I haven't done that before. Why do people keep asking me that? But anyway.
I apologize for that tangent. on your
it's not a
behalf.
tangent.
Um,
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Okay.
yeah.
My
I
flight
mean,
back
that's
from
all.
Adelaide was cancelled.
Oh, there you go. Tell us about your
I-
painful flight experience.
I
What did you
showed
do?
up to
Actually,
the
I have no
airport.
idea what you did. I'm gonna lean back now because I got tired. What did you do between the?
So I didn't go out on Sunday night
Yeah, he
because
ditched
I
us
went
all.
home because I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to go in my flight because I didn't actually. I had to wake up at like 6:45 because my flight was at like 9, and I like to get to the airport early because I'm one of those people. So I woke up at 6. I had an alarm set for 6:45, and I woke up kind of naturally at 6 a.m. and I was like, good, okay, fine, I'm just gonna.
Did you not wake up with your alarm?
No,
Okay.
because you didn't wake up.
No, I did. I woke up as you left.
As I left though, but
No, I
you didn't
think
hear my
I
alarm.
No, I didn't hear your alarm.
Yeah, 'cause
but
I
I woke
didn't-
up when
it
you were
didn't go.
moving around.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. I was trying not to be.
Yeah, no, that
very
never
loud.
works. I'm a very light sleeper.
Because Ari was sleeping on the floor and I was sleeping
Yeah, I
on
feel
the
like we need to
couch.
establish
Yes.
this. I realized as we were talking. I was sleeping on the floor in an Airbnb. Aaron was
We were
sleeping
sharing
on the
with a
couch
bunch of other
in an
people, with
Airbnb.
3 other
Everyone else,
people. Yeah.
we drew
There's
the
5 of
short
us in the
straws.
house.
We drew the short straws and didn't get beds. So we
Yes.
were in the living room space
Yes.
while I was on the floor in a sleeping bag,
And I was
he
on
had
the
the couch.
That needs to be clear.
Um,
So I was happily trying to get ready and everything, and it was fine. And I woke up at 6 a.m. I ended up getting to the airport at like 7:30, so a lot earlier. I was trying to get there about 7:45, 8ish for my flight. I get there, and I'm sitting around, and there's this, the voiceover comes on. Hello, those on this flight. The plane is mechanical, and it will be delayed. It won't be delayed. Sorry, it'll be cancelled. And I was like,
what the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
Mechanical.
I don't know much about planes, but I thought all planes were mechanical. So
Bloody
I'm not
hope
sure
they
what the
are.
difference is. And they were like, "We are very sorry. We will be putting you on a new flight. A lot of the flights today are very full, so we'll try our best." And I was like, "Oh man, I hope I get back today because I'm not going to sit around here for more than." Because I had stuff on that evening that I had to get back
uni.
for. I had uni and I had something else. And so I had to get back, and I was like, great, now what's the next time of the flight? And so they were like, just take a screenshot of your boarding pass, because I had it on the app, and because I don't like using paper anymore. And they were like, and there will be you can use that to get a $20 voucher. And I was like, all right, fine, do that then. So I screenshotted this thing. And there were 2 other people who we performed with, who were also on my flight, who also got delayed. Their flight got changed to 1:30, mine got changed to 2:30. I was there, it was 8:45 in the morning. So I had a lot of time to spare. The 2 of them were going to they were also staying with other people, so they picked the 3 of us up, and we went on like a drive around tour of Adelaide for like 45 minutes or so, just to get back for the sake of like just
doing something
time.
that wasn't sitting in an airport.
Yeah. So we came back. We did that. That was really nice, chatting with all of them and like just hanging out and seeing Adelaide in like it's just as one last road trip before we all left. Came back to the airport, went to get lunch because at that point it was like 11:45, 12ish, and I show my boarding pass, and the guy's like, "Oh, you need the paper one," and I was like, "I don't have a paper one." They told me to screenshot it, and he was like, "Yeah, but you have to take that screenshot to the front of the Qantas people, and they give you
A paper
a boarding pass." And I
Yeah.
was like, nobody said that, and he was like, "Yeah, you can only have done it when they said for you to come up." And I was like, so I had to just pay
oh
for
my
it.
god, what?
I got
That's
stinged out of my
ridiculous.
$20 voucher.
Complain.
So-
I would complain. Actually, to jokes, I wouldn't complain. I don't like conflict.
No, I don't.
But that's annoying.
So yeah, and then
that would
I
have been the one good thing
then
about.
I just sat there for a while waiting for my next flight. Eventually got on it, came back, was waiting at the luggage area for picking up my bags for like 35, 40 minutes. No bags had come for like 40 minutes, and then
God.
suddenly a bag comes, and I'm like, I just need to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, like, I'd already missed my classes for the day, and I was like, I'm done. So I was like, I just grabbed my bag, I got in the car, and I went home, and I was like, that's it. That's the end of the Adelaide experience. After seeing the kind of the show that we don't want to talk about, and that flight, and I was like, that was it.
You polished off.
So.
Oh
Anyway,
well.
but it was still fun. It was a great that for the rest of the Adelaide was so great that even that terrible way home was not did not taint the experience.
Yes. I actually had an alright flight home.
Oh,
Although
did you?
I had like it was a red eye though. It was like at 11 o'clock at night
Oh,
though,
okay,
so
yeah,
it was a little bit late.
That's-
but
I'd prefer
honestly, it was, no. I tell you what, it was fantastic because it was like dead quiet. They came around with RnG balls because I was on Qantas because I had points to use.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
did
normally
I.
fly Qantas; they're expensive.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I also had points, and usually Qantas is the reliable one. usually.
Yeah, that's true actually. But they gave us free food, arancini balls, and then they came around asking if we wanted seconds because there was just not enough people on the flight to feed everyone. And I was like, yes. And there was free wine. Not that I was drinking at that point, but we took home some free wine. Apparently you're not meant to take home the wine. Apparently they crack it for you, but somehow they just forgot to do that for us. So I just packed some bottles of wine with me and took it with me. So I got a whole bunch of cute little
they're
wine
like
bottles.
little wine.
There's one. Oh, wait, no, it's downstairs.
Okay, that's all right.
But they're really cute. And they're plastic. Safe.
Plastic wine bottles.
I know, it's so cute. But
Keep
they look
them
like
in your
proper
pocket
ones.
for if you need to just...
Whip out. Anyway.
Thanks for coming. We're finished. We're done.
I think we're wrapping it up.
Hopefully you enjoyed our return to form.
We'll chat more next week with more things to say about our show, but also probably with a bit more structure, potentially. Although generally they go
there's a bit of an all over the place today, but we're still recovering from...
We haven't done as much planning as we normally do in terms of like discussing what we actually kind of want to talk about. But hey, we still talk about things and we, you know...
we filled the time.
Not that we're trying to fill time. We have to remember it's not... Oh, you were?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm never trying to fill time. I always have things to talk about.
Yeah. But on that note... Thanks heaps for joining us. If you liked what we chatted about, hang around, give us a thumbs up.
Hang around?
We're
not going to be here anymore.
Hang around on our channel. Go
check the other videos. Check out Ari's audio drama.
Yeah, true.
That's really good.
We're proud of that. Like, subscribe.
Comment if you want. We didn't have any calls to action to comment things this episode.
Do stuff.
Comment down below saying how we didn't tell you to comment.
Comment down below if you like free wine from Qantas. No. Don't. Just like, subscribe. We'll keep the content coming. And we've dragged out the ending. So we'll catch you later.
Alligator.